right, it is a great delight to welcome you to another edition of Newsreel on Pensioners 106.7 FM, located at Agbari Gonireke, Ibadan. Today's edition promises to be enlightening. I am Inumidun, Afonja Adedeji, and with me in the studios is my co-host.
Yeah, my name is Debby Oluchi. Good morning to all our dear listeners out there. Thank you very much for joining us in another edition of Newsreel on Pensioners 106.7 FM. And of course, good morning, Inumidun.
Good morning. Now to the headlines. Nigerians divided over call for Shoyinka to lead full price hike protest.
Former Lagos Commissioner hints Dangote refinery begins production.
Oshibajo says Nigeria's challenges are stepping stones to a better nation.
6 states reject federal government's National Livestock Transformation Program.
Federal government launches cash grants for rural women.
Police gunned down 2 kidnappers in Abuja.
Security forces foil kidnap attempt on students in Kaduna.
Varsity student commits suicide.
Gunmen raid Ocean Town, killing 6.
Sultan declares Monday first day of Sha'ban, 1442 after Hijrah.
Man saved from suicide as fire raises new tricycle in Ibadan.
Family counselor attacks women on explanatory lifestyle.
Cleric acts on prayers vital for nation's healing.
ASU threatens to embark on another strike.
Akeredolu's wife commends postal adoptive mothers on Mother's Day.
Federal government postpones Faloma Bridge closure.
Group rejects life pension for former governors and deputies.
Sports minister says Nigeria silently preparing for Tokyo Olympics.
Iheanacho shines like million stars against Sheffield United. We'll go on a short break now, and when we are back, the details of the stories will be brought to you. All right, you're welcome back from that short break. It's Newsreel on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Some Nigerians have expressed different views of a course for Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka to lead a fresh protest against the purported increase in the price of petroleum in the country. Though federal government had apologized and debunked plans to increase fuel price for now, some Nigerians on Twitter complained that Soyinka should have at least spoken strongly against the plan, while some Nigerians argue that Soyinka could have repeated his action during fuel subsidy removal during Jonathan's regime. Others noted that he was too old to embark on a protest. Other Nigerians said Soyinka has paid his dues in calling for good governance in Nigeria.
Meanwhile, report says a former commissioner in Lagos State, Joe Igbokwe, has hinted that Dangote refinery may have begun test production. Igbokwe, who posted on his Facebook profile about the development, said he noticed flames from the site of the refinery yesterday, adding that it was an indication that production has started at the facility. He added that he was quite sure production has started at the refinery because he once served as an intern in a refinery, and the flame is a pointer to the fact that production has commenced. Recall that Nigeria has been facing challenges in refining her own crude oil as it presently takes the oil outside the shores of the country and then imports it back before sales. The Dangote refinery, which is seen as one that would provide a succor for the country, is a 650,000 barrels per day integrated refinery and petrochemical project under construction in Lekki Free Zone, Lagos, Nigeria. It is expected to be the Africa's biggest oil refinery and the world's biggest single-train facility upon completion in 2020.
Vice President Yemi Oshibajo says challenges Nigeria currently faces as a nation are not insurmountable but are stepping stones to a greater future. Oshibajo stated these in Owerri at a special interdenominational Thanksgiving service to mark the first anniversary of the administration of the Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma. The vice president also observed that faithful service to God in public service is a way of honoring God who gave the opportunity in the first place to leaders, while he acknowledged some strides so far recorded under Governor Zodima Oshibajo, had the governor to stay focused in delivering quality leadership in service to the people of Imo State.
6 states, Delta, Cross River, Anambra, Akwa Ibom, Oyo, men under the National Livestock Transformation Program. Meanwhile, 17 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory, as well as 3 southern states, Ekiti, Ondo, and Ebonyi, have, however, signed for the program. In February, the federal government said it had mapped out 30 grazing reserves across the country for the planned implementation of the NLTP, saying the implementation of the program would result in a lasting solution to the farmer herders crisis in the country.
Federal government's Rural Women Cash Grant Program has inflated up in Borno and Yobe states. A total of 5,840 women are expected to receive cash grants of 20,000 naira each in Borno, while 3,400 women of the same category will benefit from Yobe State. At the flag-off ceremony at the Multi-Purpose Hall, Government House, Maiduguri, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Ajia Sadiya Farouk, said the conditional cash transfer has been catering for internally displaced persons in Goni Kachalari, Bakasi, and NYSC camps due to the peculiarity of security situation in Borno State.
In what may be called a departure from what obtained in recent past, the police have gunned down 2 kidnappers in Anguwar Hausawa community in Abaji Area Council, Abuja. The kidnappers were killed during an exchange of gunfire with the police and members of the vigilante group guarding the area. A resident simply identified as Suleiman said gunmen in their large numbers whooped on some houses in Angkor Hausawa in the early hours of yesterday. He said before the arrival of security operatives, the gunmen had broken into some houses and whisked away four persons identified as Abdullahi Umar, Abdul Karim Yusuf, Abubakar Umar, and 13-year-old Abdurrahman Isa. The chairman of the council, Al-Haji Abdurrahman Ajia, confirmed the abduction of the residents and killing of 2 kidnappers to Daily Trust. The corpses of the kidnappers were lying on the floor when newsmen visited the police station. The spokesperson of the FCT Police Command, ASP Mariam Yusuf, who confirmed the abduction and killing of the 2 kidnappers, said the police repelled the attack while kidnappers who sustained gunshot injuries died while being taken to the hospital.
Security forces have foiled attempt by bandits to kidnap another set of students at Government Science Secondary School at Ikara in Kaduna State. Kaduna State Commissioner for Internal Security and Home Affairs, Samuel Arwan, confirmed that all the 307 students of the school are safe. The incident happened 2 days after 39 students were abducted from the Federal College of Forestry Mechanization in Igabi local government area of the state. This is the third major feat recorded by security operatives in Kaduna in the last 48 hours.
A student of the University of Nigeria, Nsukka UNN, Daniel Mba, has taken his life after being caught cheating during an exam. Daniel reportedly jumped from the third floor of a story building. The 300-level student of biochemistry department is from Anuri local government area of Enugu State. This reportedly made a lecturer to tear his script few minutes to the end of the examination. The lecturer was said to have seized his phone and handed him a new script to start afresh. The deceased, it was gathered, left the examination hall and went to his lodge at Onuyi in Nsukka local government area of Enugu State, where he jumped from a story building. He later jumped after all the poisonous substances he injected into his body failed to produce immediate results. An occupant who identified herself as Nkechi Abu disclosed that when the incident happened, they rushed to the deceased's room where they discovered rat poison, bleach containers, and syringes used by the deceased to end his own life.
Violence has erupted in Osho State as gunmen raided Wasimi village in Iriwole, local government area of the state, killing 6 people in the process. The state police command spokesperson Yemisi Opalola revealed that police commissioner Lawali Olukode had visited the scene to assess the invasion. She added that a detachment of security operatives have been deployed to the scene. In the meantime, the Osho State Police Command says the unfortunate attack on the family at a settlement in the outskirts of Wasimi village, Ikiri, has no connection with any clash between farmers and herders. The Commissioner of Police, CP Olawale Olokode, revealed that the command has commenced discreet investigations into the incident and is already carrying out intensive manhunt for the perpetrators to bring them to justice. He, however, appealed to the people of the state, particularly residents of Ikiri and its environs, not to panic, but collaborate with the police by giving timely information that will assist in arresting the culprits.
The Sultan of Sokoto and President General, Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, has declared Monday the 15th of March as the first day of the Islamic month of Sha'aban, 1442 years after Hijrah. A statement signed by the Chairman Advisory Committee on Religious Affairs, Sultanate Council, Sokoto State, Professor Sambo Wale Janaidu, Waziri Sokoto, says this followed a report by the Sultanate Council Advisory Committee in conjunction with National Moon Sighting Committee confirming the non-sighting of the new moon across the country after the 13th of Rajab, which marks the beginning of Sha'aban.
In a related development, a tricycle has burst into flames along Akiele Monia Road. The driver of the tricycle escaped death as his clothing also caught fire. Pensioners have gathered that men of the FRC Monia sector later took him to their office to prevent him from committing suicide as he was said to have just obtained the tricycle on hire purchase and still owes certain millions of naira.
A family counselor, Mrs. Sholafa Kolade, has called on mothers to show good examples to their children. She made the call while speaking on the occasion of this year's Mothering Sunday. Mrs. Fakolade, while speaking on the roles of women in making a Christian home as mothers and as wives, explains that children should be trained to be disciplined and to read the words of God always. She also noted that a Christian home should be a happy one devoid of exchange of blows. Mrs. Fakolade, who admonished wives not to compare their husbands with any other man, but rather they should be submissive to their husbands, also advised mothers not to allow the social media to rob them of their homes. Mothering Sunday, which has its own origin in United Kingdom and Ireland, is celebrated annually and globally on the fourth Sunday of Lent. It is traditionally a religious day in which children, especially daughters, return to their mothers and mother churches for a special service known as going mothering.
Also, Ondo State First Lady Arabiri Betty Anyanwu Akeredolu has commended women who served as foster and adoptive mothers for the less privileged children in their communities. In a message to celebrate our mothers in Ondo State and beyond, Mrs. Akeredolu described the roles of mothers as a very challenging one. She used the occasion to implore mothers to prioritize their health. And lastly, from my side, renowned Southeast socio-political group, the Save Enugu Group, has issued a 21-day ultimatum to Enugu State House of Assembly to silence a bill seeking to provide life pension for Enugu state former governors and deputy governors. In a statement, the group noted that the bill must be silenced immediately by state lawmakers for peace and tranquility in the state's political arena to be sustained.
The Academic Union of Universities, ASU, has warned of another round of industrial action over what its members described as failure of the federal government to meet all the letters of agreement made late last year. The chairman of ASU University of Ibadan, Professor Ayo Akinwole, who expressed the position of a union stated accused the federal government and the accountant general of the federation of not paying the union members for the period it went on strike for about 10 months. He explained that while government is paying outstanding 5 months' salary for those on nominal roles at an agonizing slow pace, over 100 UI academic staff are being owed salary ranging between 2 and 10 months. He disclosed that those newly employed in February 2020 have not received any dime because they maintained their stand to reject enrollment on the IPPIS.
Okay, we'll go on a short break now, and when we are back, it's over time for you to share your submissions on the earlier read stories. Don't go away. All right, you're welcome back. It is Newsreel on Pensioners 106.7 FM. The studio lines are open now for you to share your comments, submissions, and contributions to the stories that are earlier read. The numbers to call are 0808 010 or 0908 111 1067. I'll take it again: 0808 010 or 0908 111 1067. Also, on list William Zero. He's also here with us in the studios. Glad to have you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How was your night?
Very well.
Very well. Okay, national leader of the All Progressive Congress, Senator Bola Tinubu, while speaking on farmer heather conflict, has called on government to take over unoccupied public land and turn them into ranches for cattle herders. Equally suggested that such ranches be leased to others at a low price and asked for compensation for farmers and others to break the cycle of poverty. And we see that some states are ready for ranching. Your take? How would you react to what the former governor of Lagos State has just said?
Well, in my own view, there isn't much to react to.
Mm.
There isn't much because he has not said anything profound. Yes, there has been a need for such a long time for him to at least learn his voice. Let's understand where he belongs in the whole issue, but it has taken too long. And this statement, well, I don't know how I will, categorize it. For me, it has, the depth really is not there. It barely scratched the surface. Now, all these suggestions has been raised, at different quarters, and the Nigerians have spoken concerning the suggestions and what they think. And because of the position Nigerians has been placed in the area of having to trust their leaders each time they spoke, Nigerians are always going to look at these things and be a bit more careful about how they go about it. Now, ranching it is something other countries practice. We are even the least when it comes to rearing of cattle. In the world, we are the least. There are countries that are far, far ahead of us, but you do not see these cattle in their street. And even in Nigeria here, there are so many of these elite that has ranches. Even former President Absalom Bakar has a ranch in Niger State, and that ranch is a money making ranch. And even from what I've gathered, the cows he has there, they are almost 3 times as big as the ones we heard around the street. And they have their veterinaries, they have their it's a big business. So I don't understand why these people will not lend their voices firmly to this discussion and say, look, we have to go ranching now. Now, if the governor of a state has looked at the reality on ground and says, look, I want to provide a place where you could come, pay a token, then graze your cow, fine. Then we have to also work out a modality on how the cattle are brought to such a ranch. So we have to, there are so many things that we have to do, but we need leaders. When you look at issues that are pressing, you'll be firm as regards your position, be articulate enough to speak words that the common people will look and say, yes, there is much wisdom here. But for me, what you have said, though welcome, but it is not. It doesn't have that depth. Doesn't have that depth because we have said as much.
All right, Mr. Williams, still talking about this ranching, and about 6 states have rejected federal government's order on this ranching thing. Would you think it has a future effect? Because we're looking at it as a lasting solution to the farmer herders crisis in the country. So do you think it's going to have an adverse effect on especially the 6 states
Is
relating to
one
security
of the
matters?
things that we are getting wrong, in my own view, in this is that it should not be a federal government order. That is the problem. Why must it be an order? Let each state look at the viability of that idea, then decide if it will be good for their own state or not. Then put things in place to implement it. It must not be a federal government order. Each state has control over their state. The governor has control over their state. Then if the House of Rep or the state House of Rep now decide to look at the issue with the governor and with the units of the people and say, look, this idea is good. This is how we are going to implement it. It has to be the idea of the state and the state legislative and the people of that state, not you at Aserok giving an order, trying to force it down the throat of people. And we have seen all that has been done from the federal, the Ruga, the National Livestock, whatever, all these things, we have seen the undertone in these things. And many people do not trust how they are going about it. So the same way, trying to still force this one down the throat of people down, it is ranching, fine, but it is not the order that should be that the federal government must insist on that the states carry it out. It is the state that will decide how they want to go about it. And if they say, look, we do not want it this way, this is how we want it, it is their prerogative. So that is what the federal government must understand. You don't force this thing on people. They look at their own realities on ground. They come up with the ideas they believe best suit them, because that's why they are a state.
All right, the numbers to call 0808 010 1067 or 0908 111 1067. As the confusion remains over the pump price of petrol after Friday's withdrawal of a purported price template for March by Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency PPPRA. There have been renewed interest in the state of the nation's refinery. We see the federal government is proposing to sell or concession no fewer than 36 of its property to raise funds to finance 2021 projects. In another development, Nigerians have asked the authorities to fix corruption and general inefficiencies in the distribution chain.
We are back to the same it says semantics. Now, the budget of 2021, the benchmark for oil price was 41 naira or 14 naira, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, before you
sorry,
even
$40. Sorry.
Okay, before you even react, how did you feel on Sunday when you see that most of the petrol stations? I was really shocked.
No, I wasn't shocked
Mhm.
because we've been saying it repeatedly. There's an ulterior motive as regards how they go about this petroleum.
But a few days
products.
before Friday was doused, only for us to see that
there are
filling
some,
stations
there
are
are some,
short
there are
on
some
Friday.
statements you will make when you occupy a sensitive position. There are things you will say that you are almost sure will have the kind of effect you desire.
Okay.
Now, when the State Minister for Petroleum came out and said the landing cost for PMS is 200 and something naira, instantly he sent a message to the operators in that industry. And he knows how volatile that industry is. Anything you say,
It looks like the lifeblood of night.
yes.
Of the
So
country.
anything. So you are very, very careful. You must be circumspect before you make any kind of statement concerning that industry, because each time you speak, the operators in that industry, they pick up on the undertone of your statement. So this is said that the last time they came out and refuted the claim, the minister also had come out and said Nigerians should prepare for increase in PMS. So you are a minister.
How confusing can that be?
So that is the problem. They have They have what they want to achieve. Each time this thing is done, the operators will jack up the price. Nigerians will scurry about like cockroach, trying to get this commodity because somehow they are not sure. See, we are reacting from experience. We have been here before, and as long as the president and his handlers they are not, giving such attention to having our refineries work, we are going to be here for quite a long time. And the price of this PMS is going to be unstable for quite a long
And
time.
it immediately affected the prices of goods
Everything,
and
the
services.
transportation, that's where it starts. Once you increase the PMS, instantly transport is increased. And once that is increased, other things follow.
Will you call that a deja vu?
Yeah, I said we have been here before. And this president, the reason why he was voted in was because he said he has a solution to the problem. And he vehemently, clearly, stridently talked about the solutions. Unfortunately, as it is with our leaders, once they get there, they forget about their words, they forget about the solution. We have talked about how to get modern refineries. And somehow some other states they've said they are at advanced stage. Let me not forget, last time in Edo State, the campaign was centered around this refinery. And they said it's almost complete, that 90% of it is completed. And I've been asking myself, when is it going to come upstream?
Unfortunately, we even see that there are different sales strategies for the property. While some are core investor sales, a few others are for share sales. Some are for concessioning, others are for full or partial commercialization. Some property have also been listed to be sold to a willing buyer.
See, I was saying something just now. I said when the budget was planned, crude oil was pegged at $40 per barrel. Then we said we are going to borrow to finance part of the budget. Today, crude is sold for $70 now. So which means I'm selling our national assets. Now, these assets, they are called national assets for a reason. Because you failed in your responsibility as the leader. We keep saying this country is an arable land. It takes a year. If you want to plant cassava now, there are improved varieties now that you can plant 4 months, you can harvest. It is the lack of seriousness. That is why they keep looking for ready-made things to hawk around. This is not a pattern. A leader that truly understands what he is doing. It's not a pattern you must follow. If others sold these same assets, would you have any to sell? Why must it be at the forefront of their mind each time there are difficulty is to fall back on this kinds of scheme? Sometimes it worries you as an individual looking at how they are behaving towards it's like children that just find themselves in a candy shop and just devour everything they see in their wake. It is not right. We must not look at our national asset as a way to raise money. There are so many ways. Nigeria make billions of dollars every day. But lack of management has been the problem. And they are unwilling to attack that issue. The corruption that the president said we are going to fight to a standstill. No, we are all asking, where is the fight? Now, it's not Anambra State now. They are trying to give the governors lifelong pension. In the midst of the difficulty people are facing, some people they are still determined to keep giving themselves, while the state and the people, they are in penury. So I don't know how to talk to these people. When even as deaf as dumb as a stone, sometimes if you weary it enough, you see perhaps there will be a movement. But these ones we keep saying, repeating the same thing over and over again. Let's look inward. We have a very fertile land. You guys keep talking about agriculture, talking about diversification. But each time there are issues, you start looking for what to sell. That is not how it is. That they are being prodigal as leaders, and it is quite sad.
This takes me to another development as federal government gears up to receive the United Kingdom £4.2 million from a former governor of Delta State, Chief James Ibori. House of Representatives has faulted the decision to spend it on the completion of the second Niger Bridge, Abuja Kano Expressway, and Lagos Ibadan Expressway, because according to them, the money belongs to Delta State.
I believe that they've been able to ascertain the actual.
I would say, would you want federal government to rescind this plan, just as suggested by the House of Representatives here?
First and foremost, who the money was allocated to a state? Was it not? The money was given to a state. Unfortunately, the governor at the time stole the money.
Before you round up your thoughts, we have a commercial break.
Ìjó tó bá káàyàn lára à ń di ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ jò ní ìṣọwọ́gbẹ̀mí ẹgbẹ̀lẹ́gbẹ̀ èèyàn lójú pópó jẹun tí ń kọ ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ lóminú. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ ló ti da láìní bàbá, àìmọye obìnrin ló dopó ọ̀sán gangan nítorí ìwàkúwà ọkọ̀, àìlóye tó àti àìbìkítà àwọn awakọ̀. Ìdí èyí ni ìjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ fi gbé ilé ẹ̀kọ́ àwọn awakọ̀ kalẹ̀, Ọ̀yọ́ State Drivers Institute. Wọ́n yóò kọ́ àwọn tó yan iṣẹ́ ọkọ̀ wíwà láàyò pẹ̀lú ìlànà ìgbàlódé. Wọ́n yóò ran àwọn ilé ẹ̀kọ́ ọkọ̀ wíwà aládàáni lọ́wọ́ láti múnádóko. Wọ́n yóò sì fi gbèdéke tó nítumọ̀ lélẹ̀ lórí ọkọ̀ wíwà. Ìjàmbá yóò wá dínkù lójú pópó, ìbànújẹ́ yóò dínkù lọ́ọ̀dẹ̀ wa, ìgbòkègbodò ọkọ̀ yóò sì já geere, ọrọ̀ ajé wa náà yóò wá gbé pẹ́ẹ́lí sí i. Onírúurú ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ láti gbé kalẹ̀ ní Ọ̀yọ́ State Drivers Institute. Ẹ kàn sí wa ní Oisroma Building, Ministry of Works, Ẹlẹ́yẹlé, Ìbàdàn, láago 8 àárọ̀ sáago 4 ìrọ̀lẹ́. Ọ̀yọ́ State Drivers Institute, àwàyé ọkọ̀.
All hail the newest addition to the world of events in the city of Ibadan, Lafia Event Center. Elegantly located in the premises of Lafia Hotel, Akpata, Ibadan, the newly refurbished Lafia Event Center is poised to host high-octane events anytime, any day, with modern-day facilities to make your event a memorable one. Lafia Event Center is large enough to accommodate 2,000 guests in the theater arrangement and 1,500 in the banquet arrangement. Cozy and comfortable with watertight security, spacious parking lot, uninterruptible power supply, and many more for your wedding ceremony, chieftaincy, birthday, town, and association anniversaries. We also have space for your AGM, symposium, seminar, as well as music concert. Seeing is believing. Check us out today at Lafia Event Center, Akpata, Ibadan. Telephone 0708-759-5867. At Lafia Event Center, we accommodate your events.
Adio. Baba, ẹ kú kalẹ̀. Wá wo nǹkan. Ó rí pé àtòkèrè ló ń làákàyè tí wọ́n ń wo sàkún nǹkan. Ṣáájú káwọn kan tó máa fóúnjẹ láwa lójú, níjọba ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ti káwọn ọ̀dọ́ kan jọ sílùú Awẹ́ láti máa kọ́ nípa iṣẹ́ àgbẹ̀ lọ́nà tìgbàlódé lábẹ́ àmójútó àjọ IITA.
Mo rí bẹ́ẹ̀ bàbá, ṣẹ́yìn ọ̀gbọ́n tí ń lọ ń gbòòrò ni wọ́n ní ìṣèjọba tí ń bẹ lóde báyìí audio government ni wọ́n ń pè.
Èwo lẹ̀ ń pè báwọn.
Ìjọba tí ń fẹnu yàrá sọ́bẹ̀.
Àdìó ní bí mo ti wí fún wọn pé kó yé mọ́ pẹ̀lú ọ̀bọ̀já wúrà. Ṣé nǹkan tá a fojú rí ni àbí ń tó farasin? Àkànṣe iṣẹ́ ń lọ lọ́wọ́ lórí àwọn ọ̀nà jákèjádò ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Iṣẹ́ sì ń lọ lọ́wọ́ báyìí lórí ètò ìlera tó múnádóko. Ètò ẹ̀kọ́ ò sì gbẹ́yìn o. Bẹ́ẹ̀ sì làwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àtòṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì ò láláṣẹ mọ́ kí wọ́n tó rẹ́tọ̀ wọn gbà.
Bàbá, gbogbo ń tẹ́ ẹ sọ yóò tọ́ ni, kò sí rọ́ńbẹ́. Àmọ́ ẹ̀kọ́ yìí lọ́wọ́rọ́ pọ̀ kò dónú. Ẹ̀rí bí gbòòrò ti rí ni, ṣé bó ṣe yóò rí nù? Ẹ sì mọ̀ pé eégún tó bá rorò làwa kó bí ìbọn lẹ̀.
Àdìó àti gbọ́n jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́. Eégún tó bá ṣoore fún wa báyìí làwa ń kó bí ìbọn.
Ẹ kú àgbà bàbá. Ilé-iṣẹ́ ètò ìròyìn, àṣà, ohun ìrìn àjò afẹ́ tìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀yọ́ ló ń kéde.
You are welcome back to Newsreel on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Before we went on that commercial break, we were talking about federal government, the House of Representatives faulting the decision of federal government to rescind its plan to use the money for projects not connected to Delta State.
For me, it is that money was allocated to a state for their own project. Then, unfortunately, the governor at the time stole the money that belongs to the state and went to lodge the money in a different country where the money was making so much money, oiling their own economy. Now that the money is about to be returned, natural justice would say, look, this money go back to where it was taken from. That is simple enough. Because at that same time, I said the same thing last time this question came up. That same time that this money was given to Delta State, other states also received their own money, their own allocations. So now, why are we not trying to punish that state? Because the governor,
Abuja Kano, the Lagos Ibadan Expressway, the second Niger Bridge is also something that should be looked into.
Yes. These other projects also, there were allocations made to them, right? So I will ask you. I think one of the principals that are behind this thing, they had this issue about how much exactly is going to be returned. One was saying is a 6 point whatever. I was asking myself, have they been able to resolve that right now? But then these people, they are sometimes they make you laugh and at the same time want to cry, because it seems as if injustice is flowing from the top. A state own that money. Naturally, if you are going to do something with that money, if you're not willing to give all the money back to the state, but at least a substantial part of that money should go back to the state. That is natural justice. But somehow now you are trying to oppress. And some will say because perhaps the state right now is a PDP state. So you see, all these things come into play, all these variables. But for me, personally, for any right-thinking Nigerian, this money belongs to a state. Where it was stolen, let's send the money back there. After all, there are so many projects in that state that are still crying out for attention.
All right, the numbers to call are 0808 0101067 or 0908 1111067. The story coming in just now says a suit has been filed against President Muhammadu Buhari over a plan by federal government to borrow 895 billion naira from dormant accounts in the nation's banks. In the suit filed at the Federal High Court in Abuja by Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, the group wants the court to stop President Buhari and government from borrowing the money under the guise of patently unlawful, unconstitutional, and discriminatory legislation known as Finance Act 2020. The suit was filed following a recent move by government to take over and borrow and claim dividends and dormant account balances owned by Nigerians in any bank in the country. Also, before we go, the short reaction in 2 minutes.
Well, I want to commend the SERAP for all they've been doing, trying to at least drum up support and awareness.
895 billion naira.
You see, this dormant account, at least the banks that has this money lodged with them, this money has been accruing interest. If you are talking about the interest that this money has been accruing now, perhaps one would understand. But like we said earlier, we keep looking for these ready-made solutions. It just speaks volume to the kind of leaders we have. They do not think broadly and deeply enough. Pensioners cry that. And we said, how can you even talk like that when there are pensioners that are still receiving 2,500 naira?
350 naira.
So, and you say you want to go and borrow their money. So all these things will make you start thinking, these people don't have conscience at all. Now, this unclaimed dividend, somebody owned this money. But unfortunately, perhaps one is dead or something like that. And the families are easy. I hope Seraph is successful in this their seat. But unfortunately, because we have the kind of beheaded judiciary we have presently, that seat may not see the light of day. But I commend their efforts. But somehow we seem to be speaking to a leadership or a government that really has very little care and concern for the people they are supposed to be leading.
Thank you so much for your submissions. And it is on this curtain that we will end Newsreel on Pensioners 106.7 FM. Special thanks to you, our dear listener, and also our analyst, William Zero.
Thank you very much for having me.
Have a nice day. I am Inumidun, Afonja, Adedeji.
And of course, my name is Debby Oluchi. Do have a beautiful day ahead. Good morning.
From the rising to the setting of the sun, here is the first labor radio in Africa. Pensioners
106.7 FM.
Agbarigo Nireke Ibadan. A station for the elderly, the youths, the teenagers, and in fact, our children. It is a station for all. So come patronize us on Pensioners
106.7 FM.
Ibadan. All corporate organizations, ministries, departments, and agencies of government, government parastatals and commissions, artisans, private companies, market men and women, professional civil servants, and other categories of workers. This is your station. Just visit the marketing department of Pensioners
106.7 FM.
Agbarigo Nireke Ibadan, and you will be glad you did. Pensioners FM, the voice of liberation. The voice of liberation.
Pensioners FM 106.7. Give me the good sound. I love good sound. What a guan now. I love Pensioners FM. What you say, nah. I love good sound. I love Pensioners FM. There is a sound that goes deep into your soul, yeah. I love Pensioners FM. Meeting your needs if you're young or you are old, yeah. I love Pensioners FM. 106.7. Excellent added speed. Did down within your reach. I love Pensioners FM. What a guan now. I love good sound. I love Pensioners FM. Give me the good sound. I love good sound. I love Pensioners FM. 6.7. Bó ṣe lówùrọ̀ ọ̀sán àṣálẹ́ àgbàlódé làwà ẹ̀gbọ́n títí dalẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n lówó ọjà kájé ó bùgájẹ́. Oṣù dẹ̀dẹ̀ bí àró. I love good sound. I love Pensioners FM.
Pensioners FM àkọ́kọ́ orú ẹ̀ láfíríkà.
wákàtí ìyanu ọ̀rọ̀ ìmísí Elédùmarè látòrí ìtẹ́ mímọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ tó ń tuni lára tó ń fini lọ́kànbalẹ̀ tó tún fúnni ní ìrètí ògo pẹ̀lú most apostle Dr. smo Mustapha JP Babasebioba tìjọ Seed of Christ Golden Church Gbáremú Ìdíòbí Airport Ìbàdàn. Wákàtí ìyanu lórí rédíò àgbàlódé Pensioners FM 106.7 Àgbárígo lónírèké Ìbàdàn ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Monday sí Sunday lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ ní déédéé aago 7 àbọ̀ àṣálẹ́ títí di aago 8 alẹ́ lọ́jọ́ kọ̀ọ̀kan. Kò ṣeé má gbọ́ lẹ́tọ̀ yìí o. Wákàtí ìyanu níbi tí ìyanu Ọlọ́run yóò ti máa ṣẹlẹ̀ fún gbogbo onípòjípò ènìyàn. Babasebioba ti dé sí Pensioners FM. Ìyanu ayọ̀ rẹ̀ á dé lórúkọ Jésù.
Orí àánú, ìyanu.
Ọmọ́táyọ̀ ṣé o máa ń gbọ́ ètò ọ̀rọ̀ rèé ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ajé Monday lórí rédíò yìí.
ọ̀rọ̀ rèé ṣé yìí ti ní kí ọ̀la bí wọ́n máa ń ṣe lórí Pensioners FM 106.7 Àgbárígo lónírèké Ìbàdàn.
Òun náà ni ǹjẹ́ o mọ̀ pé ètò ọ̀rọ̀ rèé ó ta sánsán gan. Ó kún fún ọgbọ́n òye àti làákàyè. Ìrírí ohun tí àwọn èèyàn kan ti là kọjá látẹ̀yìnwá tó wá lè jẹ́ ẹ̀kọ́ fún ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn tó ń gbọ́ rédíò ni wọ́n máa ń sọ lórí ètò náà.
Mi ò mọ̀ pé ètò yẹn ló ń sọ o. Èmi gan-an máa ń gbádùn rẹ̀. Kódà mo ń gbádùn atọ́kùn tó ń darí ètò náà ní kí ọ̀la bí wọ́n nú.
Ẹ wá gbọ́ o. Láti aago 9 àbọ̀ òwúrọ̀ títí di aago 11 ìyálẹ̀ta ni o 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Nítorí náà kẹ́ fi sọ́kàn lórí àgbàlódé rédíò ni o Voice of Liberation 106.7. Èyí nìkan kọ́ ẹ̀yin onílé iṣẹ́ ajé ẹ̀yin oníṣòwò lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́ lọ́gbàlọ́gbà lájọ tí ẹ mọ́ gbogbo ilé iṣẹ́ ìjọba pátápátá ìyálọ́jà babalájé ẹ̀yin oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́ oníṣòwò àti ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan aráàlú. Ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ o. Ọ̀rọ̀ rẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ a jọ gbé lárugẹ.
ẹ̀dúró déédéé ẹ̀dúró re ọba ń bọ̀. HRM Ọbádárí Ọládọ̀ṣù ọba gbogbo wọn tó bá jẹ́ tí ìròyìn eré ìdárayá tí kì í ṣòfegè oníkálukú ló ṣí fìlà tó ṣí kábíyèsí forí adé ẹgbà sáwọn ìròyìn eré ìdárayá tó kún tinú tẹ̀yìn apá abílẹ̀ tí máa gbọ́ lọ́wọ́ tá a wà yìí Pensioners FM 106.7 tó bá ń bọ́ fún wọn tán máa ṣàwọn ẹ̀ ìròyìn eré ìdárayá ẹgbà sáwọn ni gbogbo ọjọ́ ajé Monday sọ́jọ́ ẹtì Friday lẹ́ẹ̀mọ́ pàdé Ọbádárí Ọládọ̀ṣù ọba gbogbo wọn ọba sports bẹ̀rẹ̀ láago 6 sáago 7 kù ìṣẹ́jú 15 ìrọ̀lẹ́ lójoojúmọ́ 6 to 6:45 p.m. ẹgbà sáwọn ó kọjá ń tẹ́rù ó kó tinú tẹ̀yìn gbogbo ẹ̀ka eré ìdárayá pátá lọ passport ó máa jẹ́ ẹ̀mọ́ bó ṣe ń lọ nípa ẹ̀ gbogbo ọjọ́ Friday làkàṣe ìpele gbẹnu sí i níbi tá Kim Lawal ló ti máa fún gbogbo ẹ̀yìn ẹ̀rí mòjé nígboro ayé ní ti bó ṣe ń lọ ẹgbà sáwọn níkànnì Pensioners FM 106.7 6 to 6:45 p.m. Monday to Friday àjọ máa gbà sáwọn ni.
Fasting is a spiritual tool to tame the body and sharpen the spirit for prayer, reflecting, and contemplating in preparation for the celebration of Easter. This is why the ongoing Lent is important for Christians and kingdom-bound children of God. Pensioners 106.7 FM Easter Community is inviting all churches, schools, religious bodies, and organizations to take advantage of our various programs lined up for this year's Easter celebrations. Some of the programs include Lenten talk of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or 1 hour. Bible quiz, pastor's profile, ministerial revelation, salvation message, and special interviews at a cheaper rate. For further inquiries, contact the chairman, Pensioners FM Easter Committee at Oyo State Pensioners House at Barigo, Uniwike, Ibadan. Telephone
0033952191 or 0059081067.
Happy Easter.
Àwẹ̀ onígbàgbọ́ jẹ́ ohun èlò ẹ̀mí fún ìsẹ̀ra ẹni àti láti fún ara wa ní abẹ́rẹ́ ẹ̀mí fún àdúrà gbígbà nítorí àti dira wa lámùrè fún ọdún àjíǹde tọdún yìí. Ìdí rèé o tí àwẹ̀ lẹ́ǹtì tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́ yìí ṣe pàtàkì fún àwọn ọmọlẹ́yìn Kristi àtàwọn tó ń fi ẹ̀mí rìnrìn àjò ilé ológun. Ìgbìmọ̀ aláàtò ọdún àjíǹde Pensioners 106.7 FM fún tọdún yìí wá fi àsìkò yìí ké sí gbogbo ìjọ ọmọlẹ́yìn Kristi, ilé ìwé, ilé iṣẹ́, lájọlájọ tó jẹ́ tọmọlẹ́yìn Kristi, lẹ́gbẹ́lẹ́gbẹ́, lọ́gbàlọ́gbà àti ilé iṣẹ́ lónìrànràn tó ń jèrè ọkàn fún Kristi láti wá jàǹfààní ọkọ̀ òjọ̀kan àwọn ètò wa. Èyí tí a ti pìyàmọ̀ sílẹ̀ púpọ̀ sísìn ọdún àjíǹde tọdún yìí lówó pọ́ọ́kú. Lára wọn ni ọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́ǹtì oníṣẹ́jú 5, 10, 15, 30 ìṣẹ́jú àti wákàtí kan. Èyí nìkan kọ́ o, ẹ lè ṣonígbọ̀wọ́ ètò táàmù nínú Bíbélì, àlàyé nípa iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ olùṣọ́ àgùntàn yín, ìmísí orúkọ ìjọ yín, ìwàásù ìgbàlà ọkàn àti ètò ìfọ̀rọ̀wánilẹ́nuwò lóríṣiríṣi. Fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé, ẹ yọjú sí alága ìgbìmọ̀ aláàtò ọdún àjíǹde tọdún yìí ní rédíò àgbàlódé tó ń bẹ nínú ọgbà ilé gàgàrà àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì lágbàrígò lórí Èkó Ìbàdàn tàbí kí ẹ pè sórí nọ́mbà ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ yìí
08033952191 tàbí 08059081067.
A kú ìpalẹ̀mọ́ ọdún àjíǹde.
Ramadan ti dé, oṣù àpọ́nlé, oṣù àdìpẹ̀lẹ̀ ẹ̀san fáwọn tó ń tọrẹ o. A kú ayọ̀ oṣù àṣegbọrẹ níwájú Ọlọ́run ọba. Mùmínì mùmínà tún ká máa kú oríire. A kú ayọ̀ ọdún oṣù Ramadan yìí o. Oṣù ìdùnnú ló jẹ́, oṣù àánú mẹ́ni. A dúpẹ́ f'Ọlọ́run tó tún bá wa nínú ìdẹ̀ra. Iléeṣẹ́ Pensioners FM 106.7 wọ́n ń kí wa kú ayọ̀ ọdún. Pípẹ́ ọdún èyí o, àyàbọ̀ fún gbogbo wa. Oṣù yọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀, oṣù alákọ̀ọ́lé. Iléeṣẹ́ Pensioners FM 106.7 wọ́n wà ní kí n sọ fún yín pé àǹfààní ńlá o pẹ̀lú oore ọ̀fẹ́ tọ́lọ́run fi fún wa nínú Ramadan láti ṣiṣẹ́ àṣepọ̀rẹ́ pé káwọn polówó ọjà yẹn lówó péréte wá sí Olúwa wẹ̀. Ètò ìyẹn ní ìṣẹ́jú tàbá fẹ́ láti ṣẹ́jú 5 tó fi dé wákàtí kan gbáko a lè sọ nígbàwọ́ ètò tàbí kí ẹ pé alága ìgbìmọ̀ Ramadan yìí ọ̀mọ̀wé Sirajudeen Babátúndé ìyẹn sórí àgọ́ wọn 080-2237-3535 tàbí kẹ́pẹ́ wọ́n sórí 081-200-86270 tàbí kẹ́hìn papọ̀wé ìgbìmọ̀ sórí aago wọn 080-762-6431 ibẹ̀ ní kẹ́pẹ́ wá sí ẹ jẹ́ ká náà wá sójú ọ̀nà tó tọ́ ojú ọ̀nà Ọlọ́run ká ṣiṣẹ́ àṣegbọ́ rẹ̀ ká lè jèrè rẹpẹtẹ níwájú Ọlọ́run.